Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to Popternative. This is the talk show and podcast where we have digital discussions, the worlds of TV, film, news, lifestyle, music, pop culture, everything really depending on the guest. Talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis. On social media, you know me as PD Beats. You recognize my guest from a show on the CW called Kung Fu. Shannon Dang is with us. Shannon, welcome to Popternative.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
It's pretty crazy because, the show just dropped. It's pretty fresh right now.
Literally yesterday, and I feel like I'm still waking up from this dream and this frenzy. And for the last week, my heart has been pounding so fast. And so I still feel like it's all a blur. So,
and I'll let you talk about it. I'm sure I'm sure you and the cast and crew are talking about this a little bit. But some records are being broken.
Yes, I woke up to an article today. What did it say?
Wednesday, most watched Wednesday pilot.
Watched Wednesday show on the CW in over 7 years.
Isn't that incredible?
Best text to wake up to, for sure.
We're going to get into the show and your character, but for you as a storyteller and an actor, when did that all start for you, Shannon? When did you decide that was something you wanted to do?
I think when I was younger, I actually did some acting. It's funny because one of my first films, actually, I got to work with Ty Ma, who plays my dad now. And so it's amazing. We have this little photo of us when I'm in braces as a kid. And I actually stopped. I wanted to focus on dance and school. I was a professional dancer for a while. So once I graduated college, that's when I was like, okay, I want to go back into acting. I love the art. I love storytelling. It's so fun. And so here I am.
Absolutely. And what's it been like for you so far, the reception from your family and friends with Kung Fu?
Oh, they're so excited. They're so proud. I think especially during this time, a pandemic and all the Asian hate crimes that have been going on, I think it makes this project even more meaningful, not just for myself and for the people who are involved, but it feels like something bigger than ourselves. So we started this project back in February 2020.
Yeah.
So, and even then it was known to be, it was going to be the first Asian-led cast for a broadcast television drama series. So already that was going to be huge. And I felt so honored and privileged to be a part of it. But then after everything that's been happening lately, it's not just us, it's bigger than us, and it's very rewarding.
And that happens a lot because you and the cast are storytellers on the show that we're all watching. And yes, it's true, it becomes bigger than just something on your TV.
It definitely is.
Yeah. And with everything kind of going on right now, we also have shows like Kung Fu as an escape as well. Have you thought about that as well, Shannon?
Yes, it's an escape. There's everyone loves martial arts and action, but it's not just about Kung Fu. These are fully fleshed out characters and families, and there's not very many Asian American families on television right now. So I think it is a nice escape from the outside world to bring people into our homes and into our lives. And I think, well, at least from the feedback, people are loving it and they're seeing themselves and they want us to be brought into their homes. And that's so rewarding.
Now, as far as we know, there's characters in this that do martial arts, right? And they're doing everything. Your character is not one of them.
As far as we know, you will have to see.
As far as we know. What's it like playing the older sister? I mean, or the younger sister? Are you older or the younger? The older sister. That's a fun character. We meet you right away. It's so much fun. What's that like playing that character?
Oh, I love Althea. She is very bubbly, and she likes to make lighthearted things out of the awkward family moments and tension. She loves bringing that fact that Nikki is back home. It's been so fun to play an older sister. I have one younger brother, but the sibling dynamic is actually my favorite relationship in the show. Everyone is great. Me, Olivia, and John get along so well. It's really fun. I
It's
love
funny
siblings.
because you mentioned the martial arts, but the one thing, and it's there, it has that, it has the action, everything, but the family component to this show is what really kind of hits home, I find.
Yes, yes, it definitely hits home. There's so many nuances. Yes, it is an Asian American family, but there's so many values and stories that are universal that we're seeing in this family. From healing and pain and love and laughter, and a family that comes together and heals from their wounds. I think everyone can relate to that. And there's so many cultural nuances that are in the show that revolve around family. It's subtle, but it's so nice. It's so fun.
And we
And
can
tying
yeah, and we can only talk about like the pilot right now, and I think this is like the point. Like the first episode is it's supposed to do what it did because it made me want a lot more. And already after one episode, I had so many questions and so many ideas, and it drove me nuts. But that's what you need to do. It's like the setup, right? The introduction and the setup. I think this was just like an amazing first episode of the show. I have to say it.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah,
But do you
I know a
agree?
lot.
Like someone, like, did you watch it? Did you have a chance to see it?
Oh yes, of course. Oh no,
I can't
definitely.
assume that though, because I've interviewed people that have not watched their stuff, so I can't always assume. So I always ask, but they hit it out of the park with this pilot.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Yeah, everyone worked so hard. We got to see a link to the final version the weekend before we aired, so like literally a few days ago, and it was crazy. So many happy tears to see. We started this back in February 2020, and to see it now, over a year later, with all its coloring and music and everything coming together, it was beautiful. And so there's a lot happening, and I'm glad people are enjoying it.
Absolutely. What has been so far? Well, actually, two-part question. What was
Okay.
the coolest thing about working on this show? And what was the coolest thing about kind of seeing it out there? Because they're two different things, right?
Coolest thing about working on this show, I think it has to be working with the cast. The cast is amazing. It's crazy because we are filming this entire show during a pandemic. So the normal things that we would be able to do, we can't. So we've had to make the most out of literally our bubble. We like to joke and call it like an NBA bubble because, we're only hanging out with each other, and like there's a lot riding on the line. So, you just got to focus on your game and like filter everything out. But the cast is great. So I love that I've been able to hang out with them on and off screen. We really are each other's pods. So that's the coolest thing, my favorite part. But also to put it on screen. What was the second part of the question?
When you saw it, what was the coolest part of when like you saw everything, like the trailers, the social media posts, like kind of seeing it?
I think it was all the action because my character, okay, spoiler, in the pilot does not do any action.
Well, I said that already, right?
I know. Okay, I will admit I'm not doing any action. But so I'm not in those scenes. So I have no idea, like you read the script, you're like, oh, this fight happens here. I don't see any part of it. When I see the edit, I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so badass. Like my friends are doing that, and I had no idea. Like that is really cool to see everyone just come in and sprinkle their magic on all the work that we've been doing and seeing their part. It's super
And
cool.
I think the dialogue between, your character, like the sisters, is just amazing, and the chatting with the siblings. But I have to say, and I don't want to like get into it a lot because just in case for spoilers, but like,
Okay.
and I didn't have a chance to talk to Eddie about it because we didn't talk about the pilot as much for spoilers. But do you know what part? One of my favorite parts is when you kind of see him get involved with the martial arts.
What?
when Eddie gets involved, when out of nowhere, Eddie's just like in there doing the martial arts. That's like the coolest
It's
thing.
so funny. There's this gif. It's actually my favorite part of that fight, and Eddie does it so well. It's like his iconic thing. I'm gonna try to like do it. He like it's in Chinese. He kind of like right before he knocks out the guy that's holding the gun, he does this little smile and goes boom, and I'm like, oh, I'll go wild for it. Like I tell him all the time. I was like, that is so cool. You look so badass.
Now, it's interesting because I'm going to ask a question I asked him as well because he worked on other projects as well. You've also worked on past projects as well. What was this project like compared to other projects you worked on in the past, Shannon?
Well, obviously, this is very different because this is a all Asian led cast. Not all Asian. We have Gavin. Gavin's amazing. Gavin's we can't forget about Gavin. Gavin's amazing. Love you, Gavin. But this is a predominantly Asian-led cast. So right off the bat, sets the entire tone of it's just different. When we all walk into work, starting from the top, we have an Asian American female showrunner, down to our directors, people of all different colors and ethnicities and backgrounds. This project feels so inclusive and important. And so from the very beginning, we all walk in and we're like, this is big. This is something bigger than ourselves. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've differentiating from the projects I've worked on before. It just
there's a lot of components that are in play. There's the martial arts, there's the action, there's the family component, there's the love stories that are going to happen. You know they're going to be there for sure. Is there one of those elements I just mentioned that kind of stands out compared to the others in terms of Kung Fu, in your opinion? Or are they all like kind of similar? Like, is there one that's a bit more predominant? Like what, like, you know, like I love the family component of it. Like, I think that's the one that kind of stands out the most. Do you agree with me a little bit there?
The family component, it's very strong. And I think just as strong as the martial arts component. So I think if you're not into martial arts or you're not into the family aspect, you're still going to get both. And it's going to be a happy medium. And that's what's so exciting.
And the show, and it's funny because it's a reboot, but I see this more as a reimagining.
Thank you. Reimagining is the perfect word. Yes. It takes a lot of components from what the fans loved about the original and puts it in, and now it's completely different. We are making our own, filling our own shoes. It's very separate. It's a reimagining. Perfect word.
Absolutely. Shannon, thank you so much for coming on Popternative. I really appreciate you coming on to talk about Kung Fu. It was awesome.
Thank you so much, Pete. You have been wonderful, and this has been so fun. Thank you.
Absolutely. So Kung Fu, they can watch the pilot came out, and we're gonna look out for more episodes coming on a Wednesday on the CW. Correct?
Mm-hmm. Wednesday's CW, 8:00. Stream next day for free online.
Amazing. And where can people follow you on social media to keep up to date with everything?
Ooh, I am mainly on Instagram, Shannon Dang, and I just kind of started Twitter. Twitter is crazy.
Twitter's a whole new world, right?
Oh, I was not ready for Twitter. I was like, oh my God, you can get scrolling for days. It's insane. But at Shannon D.
Amazing.
That's me.
Amazing. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Shannon Dang from Kung Fu and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.